Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. We are going to get into another reading vlog. I am going to start reading my December TBR that we picked, and we are going to be starting with Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I don't know a lot about this book other than, who did I see recommend this recently? I don't even know. I've started watching a few new book earlies recently and it is all scrambled eggs in my brain. Anyways, the only thing I know about this is that it is potentially set in Ireland. If not set in Ireland, the characters are Irish. It's basically two best friends who end up having a romance. That's literally all I know. So let's get reading. I don't know what that was. I look nice in this lighting, so I'm just gonna stay here and read. Okay, so we're starting off this book with a prologue that says Christmas Eve 9 years ago. We love a time jump. It is also currently set in Chicago. The female main character's best friend at the beginning of the book is literally cheating on her boyfriend. Yikes. I relate to this girl so much though. She's like, I don't want to be friends with this girl anymore. I literally broke off a friendship in 2023, I think, because that person was cheating on their boyfriend and they were just like totally fine and dandy about it. And I was like, girl, that is embarrassing. At least if that's what you're doing, like admit that you're wrong and that you need to change your behavior and be better. Don't like gloat about it. It's not attractive at all. The window seat, aka the trapped seat. My partner and I were just talking about this the other day because he is coming with me to Atlanta for us to go see my family for Christmas, but I have to stay there for like a month and a half after Christmas to take care of my dad after he has a surgery. Ace has to fly back home by himself, so we were buying his plane ticket. And I was like, you know, what seat do you want? Because like I personally, even though I haven't flown in basically 10 years because I'm absolutely terrified of it, even though I've done it before and I've actually enjoyed it. Welcome to anxiety. When I have flown in the past, I prefer a window seat because I love being able to see outside and not the reality that you're trapped inside of a plane for however long. He feels quite the opposite. He thinks the window seat is the trapped seat and he likes to be on the aisle. Which, to be fair, I totally agree with that. I think the window seat is the trapped seat, and the two of us relate on that because we're both horrific people pleasers. And he was explaining that the window seat is the trapped seat because in order for you to like get out and go to the bathroom, you have to inconvenience the people who are around you. Yeah, I totally get that. This main character feels the same way, that the window seat is the trapped seat. So anyway, just thought that was funny. So this is awkward. She just met who I assume is going to be the male main character, and it's her current best friend's boyfriend that she's cheating on. And she obviously knows that he's being cheated on and she's now with him. Like, also totally been there. Do you say something? Do you not say something? Let me know in the comments if you knew someone was being cheated on, or if you've known this in the past. Do you say something or do you mind your business? Oh, that's so awkward. Okay, so now we're starting chapter 1, which is flashing to December 21st in the now timeline. So are we gonna find out what happened? Okay, so now we're starting chapter 2. It seems like now they're friends. Obviously, that's kind of the premise of the book, is that they're friends to lovers. They're now friends, but chapter 2, we're flashing back to 8 years ago. So I guess we're gonna get, like, this makes sense, the lead up to how they became friends and whatnot now. Hey friends, I am here with a reading update for Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I am 66% into this book. Let me tell you, this book is so fucking good. What in the world? This literally has no business being this good. Oh my god. I have literally had to put it down, but I haven't wanted to put it down. You know, it's one of those books where you could literally just sit and binge this entire book. I think when I started this vlog, I don't think I talked much about this book. Like, what Can I speak today? I don't think I talked much about what this book is actually about, so let me give you the rundown so far. We have our female main character who, why am I forgetting her name already? Oh yeah, Molly, obviously. So we have our female main character, Molly, and our male main character named Andrew. And also, let me just say that I literally almost DNF'd this book on page 1 because the male main character's name is Andrew. Which is a personal gripe that I have. However, thankfully, because of the author's amazing ability to craft characters, she has since made me forget about why I didn't want that name in my brain for this entire book. So basically, this book has a then and now timeline, but it's done really uniquely, in my opinion. It's not every single chapter, or rather, it's not every other chapter is now and every other chapter is then. It's the then parts are kind of sprinkled throughout. So you get a few more at the beginning of the book just to kind of set the premise, but then as the book goes along, you only get little sprinklings of the then timeline. The general premise is that Molly is living in Chicago, but she's Irish. So every year for Christmas, she goes home to Ireland to be with her family. And every year that she flies home for the last 10 years, she has been on the same plane, if not sitting directly next to this man named Andrew. Over the course of the last 10 years, every single time they have to be on this flight together, their friendship grows a little bit more. The now timeline is obviously showing their current flight of them trying to get back home. Oh, and by the way, Andrew is also Irish, which is why they end up on the same plane, because he is also going home to Ireland for Christmas. A funny thing about them is that they are a grumpy sunshine, but she is the grump. And that, I have learned, is literally one of my favorite tropes in the world, because that's my real life. My personal own relationship is a grumpy sunshine and I am the grump. So when the roles get reversed and the woman is the grump in the grumpy sunshine, it's my favorite because it is so stinking relatable that I just literally can't even. Anyways, the now timeline is interesting because they are both trying to get home to Ireland for the holidays, but the catch this time is that there's a huge storm that's causing them to not be able to easily get home. So they have to kind of go through all these different hoops together, which ends up making for obviously a very fun adventure for the two of them to go on. And they go from friends to lovers and it's adorable. I don't know what's gonna happen in the last like 35% because they have like very recently just gotten together, but it's so cute, you guys. These are real people to me. That's how good this story is that these people are real to me. I feel like I could call Molly on the phone. I could go see her and Andrew together because they are real people to me. I can literally not wait to read more of this book today. It's been killing me. I've been so busy all day with work and filming and doing all the things that I literally haven't had a second to read, and it is already 4:30 p.m. I only have a couple of hours before Ace gets home and steals the rest of my night, so let's get reading. You know, when you want to be like cold and warm at the same time, that's kind of my vibe right now because I have a heating pad on my legs because my legs are sore, and I just turned the fan on in the living room because I'm a little too toasty. So like I want to be cold but warm at the same time, you know? Anyways, we are getting started with Holiday Romance on chapter 23, which is 66% of the way through this book, and I can't wait to read more of it. Not me crying to another book. The Snow Globe. So cute. Oh my god. Something I love. This is like a micro trope, I guess. When one of the characters is really struggling with like their job, their career, they're lost in their life and they don't know what to do because same, very relatable. And oh my god, this man, he is so sweet. So she finally told him what she wants to do besides what her actual job is. And she's really scared and doesn't think it's gonna work. And he said, sounds like you're thinking a lot about what could go wrong and not about what could go right. Too relatable. And then he said, so what if it doesn't fail? What if you're good at it and it takes off and you make enough money for everything you need and you live out the rest of your days doing what you love? Have you really spent the last few weeks trying to figure out another career when you've had this idea in the back of your mind? Did you not think that maybe the reason your heart was so against every other path was that you knew exactly what you wanted all along? Ugh.
Something I don't think I've talked about on this channel is back in February, I was laid off from my corporate big girl 9 to 5 job, and it forced me into a lot of things. It forced me into a different lifestyle of essentially being broke all the time and having to rely on my partner for money versus being like the big independent girl that I was before that for a very, very, very long time. And it was a big shift in my life. At the time, I was thinking this could also be a blessing in disguise, that this is forcing me out of this career path that I didn't choose and didn't want. It was making me completely miserable, and I could really just truly do what I want to do. And I didn't know what that was. But it's really the exact same thing that Molly is going through. I am so terrified to start what I really want to do, what would make me happy, what would fulfill me in a way that no corporate job could ever. It's something that I'm working through with my therapist too, that exactly what he said, you're just scared. You're thinking about all the things that could go wrong instead of thinking about what could go right. And that is literally my brain 24/7. It is constantly thinking about what is going to go wrong instead of what could go right. I love reading so much. This is exactly why, because it reminds you that other people are going through exactly the same thing, and you just have to push through. You just have to do it. Just do it.
I'm taking a break from this for a little bit because Ace will be home soon. But I just got to the 85% mark, and I was really hoping that this wasn't going to have a third act breakup, a third act conflict situation. And there is one, and it's fine. I'm trying not to be frustrated about it because it is very realistic. It is something that I myself would do. It's a way that I myself would react, and I think that's why it's irritating me. It's a little too realistic. It always has to happen at the worst time, right after they have such a good, happy moment. It's boom, nope, we might break up and we might not have a happily ever after. And you're like, but you guys were literally just so happy, which again is what makes it so realistic. That's something that happens to me on a regular basis. Welcome to hormones. Anyways, I am on page 317 of 344. Oh wow. So I only have 27 pages left. That's crazy. I will get back to you when I finish this book. Hey friends, I have a reading update for you. I just finished Holiday Romance. I did officially rate it. You can only do solid increments on here like you can on Goodreads, but on Fable, I increased it to 4.5 stars. This book was so cute. Absolutely adore this author, and I literally can't wait to read more from her. Oh my gosh. This was literally so cute. I think in my last update, I was saying that I was worried about the third act breakup, or was hoping that there wasn't going to be one, and was slightly annoyed that there ended up being one, which still kind of holds true, but thankfully it wasn't super dramatic. It didn't last very long. It got cleared up pretty quickly, so that was nice, and it had a really sweet ending. I am super in the mood now for the holiday romance thing, so though I kind of low-key want to abandon my entire December TBR so that I can read the next book in her series, which is called Snowed In, which is about Andrew's brother Christian, we're sticking to it, and the next book that I'm going to be reading is Set the Record Straight by Bonam-Young. I did already start just a couple of pages of it, and literally, tell me why the author's note already made me tear up. So the author's note specifies that there is some plot points that she wanted to point out that some people may be super uncomfy with, which is just that one of the girls basically has been kicked out since coming out to her parents. They're super religious, super horrible, but they don't make any sort of reappearance in this story. And then she also mentions that Clara, one of the girls in the story, she's diagnosed with ADHD, and the other girl, Evan, is autistic. And I was like, I knew that this book had queer representation, but not neurospicy representation. That makes me so excited to read this. I am two chapters in and am loving it already. It is after midnight, so I will catch you tomorrow with a reading update. it is a new day and I have a reading update for you. I don't even know how much I talked about this because I didn't go back and watch my other clips of this, which I'm now realizing is a mistake. Anyways, I have since finished Said the Record Straight by Bonam-Young. This is a holiday novella that basically follows two girls who allegedly were best friends when they were younger, and they kind of fell out of touch, got back in touch, and they end up basically fake dating for reasons, and it, as per usual, turns into more than that. My final rating for this was 3 stars, which isn't horrible. I enjoyed it. However, not the best. Let's start with the things I liked about it. I love that this included ADHD representation, autism representation, and queer representation. That's awesome. You do not see that often in books or enough. So I was very, very, very happy that it included all of that. I also really enjoyed just like the general writing style of Bonam-Young. She's very funny, and that really came through in this short novel, so it got me excited to read some of her other stuff. However, on the flip side, yes, this is a novella, and oftentimes I find that I actually don't have the same problems as most people do with novellas, where they are complaining that they're too short, there wasn't enough character development in that time because it was so short. But with this one, I really did feel that way. Here's the thing, I still don't think that it's because of the length of the book. I just think it could have been done better in the time frame, which is like almost 200 pages here. For some reason, there was like no chemistry between these two. There were a lot of plot holes where it's like, you said that they were friends, but like it just didn't really make any sense, because then you told how long they weren't friends for, and there wasn't really a good reason why they became friends again, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Plus, this was extremely insta-lusty, and something that actually one of my friends on Fable pointed out yesterday that unfortunately a lot of queer romances seem to do, where one day these people are 1000% straight. And that's how Clara was in this book. One day, 100% straight. And the girl's like 28 years old, right? She's been living her whole ass life believing that she's 1000% straight. And then one day she looks at the other girl and goes, oh my God, how have I never looked at the same sex this way? She's gorgeous. Girls are beautiful. I am so gay. It's really not a trope I enjoy. Here's the thing, and this is what I told my friend on Fable yesterday, because she was talking about male romances specifically, and she was like, I'm not a guy, so like I don't know how that works. And I was like, here's the perspective of not a guy, but I am pansexual, so it's really hard for me just in general to believe that people are sitting around not thinking about it at all. How did you determine that you were straight if you'd not thought about it and said, nah, not for me? Just saying. How are you just going about your entire 30-year existence never thinking about it and then going, wow, really, really, really gay? Doesn't make a lot of sense, and I feel like it's just very reductive of queer people and queer romances to make them that way. I'm sure for some people that's very realistic. However, I think for the great majority of people out there, this is not how life works. I really did not like that about this. I don't know, things were just like happening really quickly, and I feel like the character development really suffered. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, if it was a full-length novel, I don't think it would have been better. Anyways, as mentioned, I did rate this 3 stars. It was enjoyable. I would recommend it for the representation, and it just generally was a fun read. However, I stand by the comments that I just made about what I don't like. I won't ever be reading this again, and I probably won't ever think about it again, so. We are now going to move into a new book. This one's interesting because I actually bought this ebook. It's just because Amazon had it on sale. It was only $1.99. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, so I said, why not? I really didn't know, and this is so funny because as you guys know, I have so many books and I don't know what they're about. I don't know if I'm gonna love them, and I still spend my money on them. For some reason, I'm expecting to not love this book. I don't know why. I've heard good things about it, but there's also like very mixed reviews out there. So Buying the physical copy was making me very nervous, so I just decided to buy the Kindle copy, which again was on sale for only $1.99. Couldn't pass it up. This is called The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter, by the way, and she is the author of The Blonde Identity, if you've heard of that before. I don't know much about this book. Okay, so originally I thought that this book was a romance. I'm pretty sure it's in the romance category at the bookstore. However, since kind of looking into it slightly, because you know I like going into books blind, but I did look into it slightly, and it seems like this is actually more of a mystery, like a whodunit mystery kind of a situation. So very excited to get into what this is about, and I will catch up with you guys in a little bit when I know more. Okay, so the prologue starts off with an excerpt from a police interrogation of the two main characters. And there's already banter between them, and it's kind of like one of those, like, why don't you start at the beginning kind of a situation. So you don't find out much from that other than the fact that you know that they're being interrogated by the police, which is interesting. Okay, so chapter 1, we're starting 1 week earlier. Okay, already loving this. I really like the way that the author's writing is, I guess. It is written in third person, which isn't my favorite, but it's not my favorite for romance. So again, I don't think this is a romance. Can't be that big of a deal. But we've already been introduced to the two main characters who they are setting up to be work rivals. It seems like they both work at the same publisher and are both obviously like crime mystery authors of sorts. And yeah, Maggie really, 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 really hates Ethan. Anyways, I'm gonna read a little bit and catch up with you guys in just a bit. Hey friends, it is many hours later. I have a reading update for you. I'm 62% into this, and I have some thoughts. My first thought is, why is this book not talked about more? This book is so good. What the fuck? It's eons better than I thought it was going to be, and I am truly shocked. Things that are making it so good. The chapter length. Just to give you an example, I'm only on page 181, and we're in chapter 45. The chapter before this one was 6 pages. Before that was 6 pages. Before that was 1 page. Before that was 5 pages. Before that was 4 pages. Before that was 3 pages. Before that was 5 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages. I love it. The thing about short chapters is it makes the book's pacing so fast, and it just feels like the book is flying by. You feel like you're reading a bunch of pages really quickly because you are. I love that. Short chapters are my new favorite thing. The other thing I love about this book is I mentioned at the beginning that I didn't think this was a romance, or if it was a romance, it was maybe like just a little smidge. It is and isn't a romance, but the romance that's here is so much more than I thought it was gonna be. I'm living. I fear I might be in love with Ethan Wyatt. Just know this man has been pining after her. Love that trope. Anyways, I have therapy in just a little bit, so I'm gonna do that, keep reading, and probably will end up finishing this today. So I will get back to y'all in just a little bit. Okay, thanks. So you guys can see what I'm dealing with. So we have developments. I am officially in love with Ethan Wyatt. Here are some quotes to convince you. I'll protect you from a ghost, from everything. At some point, he called her young lady, which is kind of weird, like out of context, but in the context, Ethan freaking Wyatt. Who'd have thought? Not me. This book is literally so good. I only have a couple of chapters left, so I will probably finish it like as soon as I get out of therapy, and we'll update you guys. Hey guys, I just finished The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. What? Listen, I did not see this coming at all. This book was so good. I will admit the ending to the mystery was a little bit lackluster, but
Besides that, absolute perfection. As I mentioned in my last update, I was not expecting the romance in this book. I don't know why I wasn't expecting much of a romance. I just didn't know anything about this book and just kind of assumed based off of what I heard that it wasn't a romance, but this is a romance that just so happens to also have crime mystery elements to it. 4.5 stars. What else can I say? Mr. Ethan Wyatt has made his way onto my top book boyfriends list. This man, not only has he been pining after her for literal years without acting on his feelings, he wants to burn the world down for her, would kill anybody for even laying a finger on her. And I was not expecting that from this. So good. And the way that this actually wrapped up at the very, very, very end, this is an epilogue that you absolutely must read. So cute. Had me tearing up. I loved it. I think I loved it so much, especially because I went in expecting not a whole lot and got so much out of it. I related to the female main character so much, unfortunately. She used to be married to somebody who definitely seems like a narcissist who could actually not give a singular fuck about her whatsoever, and was constantly gaslighting her to the point of the way that their marriage ended is that he was cheating on her with her best friend. That caused her to obviously not be able to trust other people, but the gaslighting that he did over the course of their relationship caused her to also not be able to trust herself, and that obviously is manipulation at its finest, and I have been there. I am actually currently still recovering from something similar where I have a really hard time trusting in general. I thought my biggest problem was trusting other people, and I learned very recently, thanks to therapy, that I actually don't trust myself, and that's a problem. When you don't trust yourself and you are constantly second guessing whether what you're doing is right or just not confident in any decision that you make, it is detrimental to your mental health, to your everyday life. It is rough. So being able to see that representation in this book was everything. Absolutely loved it. I am also going to go ahead and wrap up this reading vlog here because since I got done with that book, the rest of the books that are on my December TBR are all physical books. So this reading vlog was essentially reading my December TBR ebooks. We started off reading Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh, which was 4.5 stars. Absolutely loved this book. Then I read Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonam-Young, 3 stars. Last but not least, The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, also 4.5 stars. I cannot believe that this month is already shaping up to be such a good reading month. I love it. Hopefully the physical books that I've picked out for my TBR this month will end up being just as good. Make sure you like and subscribe and stick around so that you can see how my physical December TBR reading vlog goes, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!